If you're a carry player, Terrorblade is a hero you definitely add to your arsenal, since he occupies a unique niche of an anti-carry hard carry who counters many of the enemy carry heroes with his reflection ability, and at the same time is capable of outfarming and outscaling most other carries. He does have the downside of coming online very slowly, which is a problem in today's fast-paced meta, but with 7.24b's nerfs to many of the high-tempo meta heroes, that means that Terrorblade is indirectly buffed. And also with the item changes, or a bunch of nerfs to items that Terrorblade mostly doesn't buy. The only one they might buy is Diffu, but even that you usually don't buy on Terrorblade. So all this means that Terrorblade is a pretty decent spot right now in the meta. He's not super strong, but he's not weak either. So in this game we're going to look at how to farm, how to fight as Terrorblade. So as for the rune fights, you'll rather not fight here. You get 3 heroes, and in general Terrorblade is not the best hero for rune fights, because you usually want to save your meta for the lane. So this is a game between VP and Cyber Legacy from the Parimatch League, which is a league with basically all the best CS teams. And the player watching here is Cooman, who's currently standing in for VP in the carry role. A mistake that a lot of lower level Terrorblades make is that they save up on the meta too much, especially in the early game. What we're going to see Cooman do here, and what you see most strong Terrorblade players do, is they just use the metamorphosis basically off cooldown, in the early game at least. And it just helps you so much for trading in lane, for last hitting, for denying, and it's just something you should just use when you can, because the earlier you use it, the faster it's going to come back online. And right now here is not doing too well in terms of last hitting, unfortunately. He's quite a bit behind this Mars, and now his meta has run out, so that it's not doing so well so far. At this point Cooman is on a lot of trading, and you can trade quite well on Terrorblade because you have so much armor. And he's now down to 2 tangos, so he's throwing himself out extra tangos and extra mango, as well as finishing his stick. So very efficient item choices here. And just really important that if you find yourself running low in region, you send that region progressively before you actually need it. You don't want to be caught in a situation where you're sitting in lane with like 150 HP and you're waiting desperately for that salve to arrive, and you can't really contest last hits because you'll be afraid of dying. That is what you want to avoid, so that's why you need to send out that region early. Cooman has just drawn aggro here, and only 1 creep is hitting the range group, however, so his creep is not going to get in the deny range, but Solo is going to help out with Purifying Flames and allows Cooman to get this deny. And these are the kind of little things that can allow you to get a little bit of an extra edge in your laning phase. So meta cooldown just came back up, he just leveled it up, and he's just going to use it here and getting some hits onto this disruptor. And now it's just going to go and play this lane with these illusions and with this meta. Of course meta adds a lot of damage. Level 2 meta gives you 40 damage. That is a lot, as well as of course reducing your base attack time and giving you ranged attack. But you're quite slow with meta, so you're quite immobile here. But in lane that's not very important. The enemy have done a pull here, and Cooman comes to contest, trying to get as many last hits as he can. Also being healed up here by Solo, helping him sustain. And right now Terrorblade has gone for 2 Wraith Bands. That's very standard stuff, in addition to this magic wand. And he's now just hit level 5, and at this point he's just going to bugger off into the jungle. And that is a very typical thing. That is what Terrorblades usually do right around level 4 or 5. As Terrorblade, you're typically not going to win a lane, but that's not really the point. You're not really looking to win the lane, you're just looking to get a couple of levels out of the lane, and then you go into the jungle and just leave your support in lane to soak experience. That's also nice, of course, for your support. And sometimes you have those games where you win your lane and then you can stay longer in the lane, and you just do things like push out the lane and then farm those nearby camps and then push out the lane again. But in most games you're better off just going to the jungle. And of course he's using his meta to farm here for the jungle, and he's hitting this Centaur camp here. Now this meta runs out. He's actually consciously microing away this one illusion. He's going to try to stack here, but actually this camp has been taken. But he's paying very close attention not to get stomped by these Centaurs. Sandway with this Hellbar Smasher. He's just going to send one illusion in here. He's going to tank with the illusion because it's going to run out anyway, and then he's going to send in the other illusion after this Hellbar died. And if you're looking for an item build to copy, you can't do any better than what Cooman is doing in this game. This is pretty much the most standard build. Here we go for these Quelling Blade, Wraith Bands, Magic Wand, and then Treads. These very efficient early game items that fill up 5 slots. And then after that you go for your Manta. This is a very expensive item and use your slots very well. Notice how he's spreading out his illusions so as to avoid taking much splash damage here from this Black Dragon. Very efficient farming here from Cooman. And as you're farming here, ideally you want to constantly send yourself out some clarity, so it would have been nice if you had a clarity on that courier. But he does still have one mango here, at least some region. And when it's safe to do so, you can still go into a lane here, for a little while at least. No one is in this lane right now, so might as well push this in, but you're not going to stay here. Just going to push this in and then go back to the jungle. And there you can see you ship yourself out of clarity. Basically, when you jungle with Terrorblade, you want to keep a clarity going at all times. And we're even going to see in this game he's going to get himself a couple of mangoes in addition to that. Wait for the Ancient Camp to respawn, and we have some Ancient Prowler, so definitely want to use your meta for that. Makes it a lot easier. You can kite these Ancient Prowler acolytes and easily finish this camp. And just this theme continues. You want to use your meta very aggressively just to speed up your farm. And you see some heroes here. You see this Storm briefly, sees a glimpse of that. And now there's more heroes, and he's not really reacting in time here. That was a bit slow here from Cooman. He could have definitely reacted a bit faster than that. And he dies, and that's of course an unfortunate death. But this is the sort of thing that you just have to accept as the cost of doing business. Occasionally you're just going to die to a gank here. At this stage he's strong enough to just send out like one illusion to push out a lane, and meanwhile you can just tank this camp on your own. And it's important to actually micro this illusion. You don't just want to let it die here. So because you're just jungling, you don't have to spend too much attention on that, so you can actively controlling your illusions, last hitting and so on, avoiding enemy heroes, because you don't want to feed the enemy gold unnecessarily, or at least you want to have to make them work for it. And he's going to defend here the tower. Lifestealer is trying to be a bit cheeky here, but he's going to get away with it. And meanwhile, Cooman again just sends out one illusion here. This illusion is going to chill here a little bit, and then when the waves meet, this illusion can possibly get some last hits here. Meanwhile, Cooman is just going to go and do some more jungling here in the triangle area. This tower is quite weak, so they're going to push this and try to get the last hit here, and Cooman does get the last hit. And playing Terrorblade doesn't mean that you only have to jungle for like 20 minutes. You want to mostly jungle, but still sometimes doing a little push like this is the right move, especially if you can get a tower kill out of it. They find an illusion rune here, and they say this for Terrorblade, of course. Terrorblade is going to have the strongest illusions. And if you find an illusion, it's very important to treat those illusions carefully. They last for a very long time, so you don't want to just let them die. They're much more valuable than their conjure image illusions. Ideally, you want to have an extra hotkey set up for those. And we see Mars here being very brave, jumping in here and almost dying. Slada, meanwhile, also in trouble. He's going to die. And Mars is still surviving somehow, but now he's going to be dead. And in the meantime, while this is going on, Terrorblade is just hitting this tower. As Terrorblade, you're not very fast. You do a lot of damage, but you're not fast. So your job is just to hit whatever is in range. And in this case, there was a tower, so got the tower, and they traded offlaners. And that seems to be about it. But Disruptor is not content with that. He wants to continue fighting here, pays with his life, actually killed by a terrible illusion here. And Storm Spirit is almost going to die, but barely gets away. Meanwhile, Cooman was pushing with his illusions, but Lifestealer TP'd there and defended that push, or walked there, I guess. Cooman currently has an Ironwood Tree as a neutral item, but he finds a Pupil's Gift here, which is a much nicer item, gives you a lot of secondary stats, and those stats are quite strong on Terrorblade. You have a terrible HP pool, so every bit of strength is enormously useful, as well as, of course, Int is quite helpful with your very strained mana pool. And we see Cooman here walking around with an Ops Ward. Just because you're the carry doesn't mean you can't carry solo wards. They're free now, you can buy them, you can quote-unquote buy them. And if you're going to farm aggressively like that anyway, might as well put down the wards here, as it's of course going to make your own farming a lot safer. And right now he's going for a BKB, which is kind of a usual item on Terrorblade. Oftentimes you're going to be in games we have to go for BKB as second item, just because there's so often so much magic damage, so much burst on the enemy team, and being able to get off the good summoners is very important as Terrorblade. So especially against a lineup like this, where they have lots of magic damage, they have lots of control, all of which can just be blocked from BKB, with the exception of the Ice Blast, which goes through BKB. But everything else can be blocked, so BKB here clearly the best choice as a second item. And right now the Dire team is pushing bottom tower, so what you do as Terrorblade, you don't really want to fight yet, is you push the top lane. If you're the team that doesn't want to fight, you should be on the opposite side of the enemy team and pushing the other side lane. That way you might get a trade at least. In this case, they didn't get the tower, but at least they forced someone back. They forced some sort of delay onto the game, which buys Terrorblade more time. We just had a little bit of a fight. We traded position 5 heroes, and now they're just walking into Roshan. Why can they do this? Well, first of course they have a Slaughter in the lineup, so Roshan goes quite quickly, and they're also popping meta to kill this Roshan as quickly as possible. And the thing is, the enemy team, they use the Static Storm, they're not really that strong at fighting right now, and they're just sort of spread out all over the map. It would take them too long to actually convert you into Roshan because of this popped meta. And like, even if they do make it in time, popping meta is still fine, because then you can fight, because when you fight you want to pop meta anyway, and they just get away with this. And what you do after you have this Aegis, it's just back to farming. You want to have your meta back up, and then you can actually take a fight. But if you have Aegis and no meta, you don't even want to fight right now. But that's fine, you have 5 minutes on the Aegis, so you definitely have time to wait for this next meta. Cooman is going for MKB as a third item, which is a bit unusual, but the reason he's going for that is because he's up against Lifestealer. Lifestealers these days almost always buy Heaven's Hellbird, and they also usually take the 20% evasion talent at level 20, so they have a lot of evasion, which means that MKB is crucial. But if you're not playing as an evasion hero, typically a third item would be a Skadi or possibly a Butterfly if you go a bit more aggressive. He has the Aegis, so he can do these kind of aggressive moves here. Some heroes in his team to back him up, they're coming up here right now. And then we don't really want to fight right now against this 10-second BKB and the Aegis, even though they have a slight net worth lead still. VP still have the Aegis, they have this Kata wave. Unfortunately this Kata is going to take a tower shot here and die, but they can still just do this sieging. He has the Aegis, it's all these heroes backing him up, and this is why they're only showing this Terrorblade here really, because all the other heroes are here to counter-initiate and heal up this Terrorblade, and the enemy really don't want to go on this Terrorblade with this Aegis that's no longer going to last for a terribly long time. So they really want to take a fight right now if they can, use this timing with their Aegis and with their BKB. But because of this, the enemy is split pushing at bottom, hoping that someone is going to TP to respond, and then they can take a 5 versus 4 fight. But instead they just send these illusions down and stay here with the main hero. They're trying to somehow get this Aegis to pop without having to commit any big ultimates for it, but it's very difficult here with all this shielding coming out from solo. And of course Terrorblade is a hero with a lot of armor, and Mars now suddenly jumping in, tries to get anything done, but Terrorblade pops his BKB, and he's just going to hit what he can. Lifestealer runs away, and that's what I'm talking about earlier. You just have to hit what you can. You don't have a lot of chasing potential as Terrorblade, so he's not going to actually run after this lifestealer, instead just going for this tier 2 tower, killing that tower. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is going to chase down this lifestealer, and they're going to kill him. And Cooman is going to try to join the fight, but he's too slow, and they set anyway, so now they can siege this high ground and go for this tier 3 tower. And Terrorblade still has the Aegis, and they jump in a little bit here, go for this 1 kill here on the support, and right now they just have of course here hitting this tower. There's 2 heroes down, and now they're gonna go for this melee Rex, playing it even more defensively, sitting behind with 3 heroes only hitting with Terrorblades and Slada, who are the tankiest heroes, and this way they can easily take this melee Rex with very little commitment. And now they're just back. They could probably stick around here and would probably get this range Rex, but why risk it? They have this Terrorblade lineup, they have the stronger late game, they now have a lead, they've got a melee Rex at 28 minutes with this late game lineup. They are in a dominant position right now, so there's no point in risking anything further. And we're going to leave it here. This is a winning position, which VP indeed going to win, but it's going to take another 12 minutes or so of just slowly getting farther and farther ahead. If you want to see the rest of this game, the match IDs is in the description, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and share it with your friends. If you want to see another video on TB, click on the video on the left, and if you trust the YouTube algorithm, click on the video on the right. And all is willing, I'll see you in one of those videos.
Thanks for playing Dota 2. Double.